Hello, everybody, and welcome to this introduction announcement for week 3. We're moving right along here. And last week you got an introduction to consumer behavior, customer behavior, and what goes into that. Also, an overview on what's in the marketing plan. And then we started talking about our term project, the class project where we're going to build a plan. You got some good background information there, which I hope you've taken some time to read through, and so you understand what is involved. And I didn't actually put the milestone 1 information out there yet because it really kind of ties more into this week, so it's listed in this week's content. So that was from last week. This week we're going to start in on kind of the foundation or the cornerstone of marketing plans, and that is segmentation. This is part of the marketing framework, but segmentation and targeting and positioning, which we're going to cover over the next 2 weeks. But it's just so incredibly critical for to do this right, to do a good marketing plan, because what you find out is everything you do in this work now is what everything else is going to be tied into. So anything you do going forward. So yeah, it's pretty important that we get this done as well as we possibly can. So let's talk a little bit about that. And then I'm going to give you a brief strategy overview. There's a video out there, a micro lecture I've done before, which is just an overview of strategy and gives you an idea of what's involved with strategy. And you also start to appreciate how closely marketing and the overall strategy of the organization tie together. It's really important that they do. So I put a video out there for you to watch. It's not real long, but it's got a lot in it. So the 2 chapters we're going to cover this week are Chapter 3 is segmentation and Chapter 4 targeting. You have your quizzes with that. Make sure we get those done. There's an interesting article that I think, anyway, that you want to take a look at. It's not required, but I think you'll find it interesting and something that will help you gain a perspective on how things are evolving. So we're going to talk about the concept of a persona to do milestone 1, and these are now being using AI to actually generate who the personas are. And I thought it was a really fascinating article. I've not actually done anything like that, but I got to tell you something. I can absolutely see this is where it's going. So it's a good one to look at anyway. And then you have a discussion post this week, and we're going to start talking about milestone 1 this week as well. Okay? So let's take a look at the text. Now, Chapter 3 concentrates on segmentation. Your objectives here is really to understand what segmentation is and why it's important in marketing. And it really is. So take the time to understand it. Identify the types of market segments that there are. These are pretty cursory looks at it, I'm just going to say, but it gets the right concepts across, and you can kind of get an understanding of what goes into it. Describe the 4 bases for segmentation. Again, that's just one approach. There's others out there, but it helps you put in perspective what it's all about. And then you want to discuss the differences between 2 of the approaches that they talk about in the text, and understand how those are used to identify market segments. But segmentation is a very important activity, and if we look at it from the marketing management framework, which is where these boxes that like I said, we're going to keep coming back into them, but we've more or less talked about the 5 C's up to this point, although we didn't get into it in a lot of depth. But now we're going on into the actual workings of the marketing plan. So this is the kind of the bedrock or the foundation of it. We're going to be doing segmentation, targeting, and positioning, very important activities to do in the marketing plan. So that's basically what you want to do with this being Chapter 3. Let's take a look at Chapter 4. Now in Chapter 4, we're talking about targeting, which is the logical next step from after understanding what segments are out there. which ones should you be targeting, and defining what targeting is and why it's helpful to marketers. In fact, it's critical to marketers to be able to do that. The key takeaway there is, and I'm just going to use it by way of an example. I used to do some work with a business incubator, which is a fancy way of saying it's kind of an organization that's helps people launch their new market ideas and their new businesses. And a lot of times the people that came in to the incubator program had engineering backgrounds and were involved in technology and things like that. And I would ask inevitably the people who came up with this great new technology that they want to commercialize and bring to the marketplace, who's the target market for it? Who wants to buy it? And you can tell they really hadn't thought about it. And at some point they kind of back away and say, well, really anyone. They said, that is just the wrong answer. You really, really need to have a good, solid understanding of who's most likely, not the only people that are going to buy your product, but who is most likely going to buy your product so you can concentrate your marketing efforts towards them. And that's why targeting is so important. You want to understand how to choose the right segment to target and gain some understanding of how to estimate the size of a target market segment. This is going to be a very cursory view of it. It can be pretty sophisticated. There's a lot of work that can go into it, but all these steps are really important to actually help you complete this part of a marketing plan. Next week we'll talk more about positioning. So it's kind of, again, these are really, really important topics. I can't stress how important it is to understand it. So here's the deal: you really need to go through the chapters, read through them, and gain an understanding of what's involved with it before you start milestone 1, because milestone 1 ties directly into this activity that we're talking about in these chapters. So do that first. Read through the text, and then you can take a look at milestone 1 and start working on it. Okay, what wraps up for this? So if you have any questions about what needs to be done this week, please let me know. If you're struggling with the research element of milestone 1, please reach out to me. I can give you some assistance. I can't really do it, but I can give you some pretty solid assistance in terms of how to go about doing that if you're struggling, how to come up with the necessary research to do what you need to do. Okay, so that's it. So best of luck, and don't hesitate to reach out if you have any questions.